Coming up on Tekzilla, build yourself a Windows home server. It's not just for backing up. Maximum PC's Will Smith is in the house. We got some shiny new phones from HTC, ODROID versus Zune HD, and a stack of your viewer questions by Dim. So cut yourself a slice of that gorgeous pineapple upside down cake and get yourself comfy, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is brought to you by Dim, easy free web conferencing. Brutal Legend, available now. And Go to Assist Express. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the best apple orchard in Sonoma County, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down somebody who does.
There are a ton of ways to get Tekzilla. You can watch the flash video right here at tekzilla.com. A lot of folks subscribe using iTunes or Miro, Views or Zune, Boxy or Divx. And of course, you can play our videos on just about any set-top box that can download an RSS video feed, such as the Apple TV or Popcorn Hour, a home theater PC, or on the Xbox 360 or PS3 via a media server. There is one thing we get a lot of email about: subscribing to just the weekly or just the daily feeds, or both. Most of the feeds are up on the tekzilla.com homepage under Subscribe, Episode RSS, where you can see all our feeds, from the fabulous MPEG-4 30 frame per second HD feed, the XVID, WMV, and the QuickTime in both large and small formats. To make it easier, we've got a whole new Subscribe page up now at revision3.com/tekzilla/subscribe. This page lays out all the apps and hardware platforms we're officially available on, as well as the RSS feeds and how to subscribe. This page will be updated as new platforms are added, and we'll be adding detailed specs on the file formats, links, and all that good stuff.
Veronica, I must say, looks particularly fabulous in that 720p MPEG-4 30 frames per second version, especially when she waves her hair. It captures it all. So, and I gotta say, let me make it clear. You can cut and paste any of those weekly or daily feeds right into iTunes or Miro or whatever you want to use to download our videos, so they are available. We get a lot of email about this, so that's why we're pointing it out. We should also point out that pretty soon we're even gonna be on Roku's digital video player, AKA the Roku Netflix box. All right, so if you haven't seen it, the Roku box obviously is the small $100 box that sits on top of your television. No hard drive, basically streams everything live over the internet. So you are going to need a broadband connection for that. The faster your broadband connection is, the better the quality video you can download. Now, we've showed off Netflix in the past. We've talked about Major League Baseball on the Roku box. We've actually showed that on HD Nation. But check out Revision 3. So basically you click on Revision 3, and we're going to bring up all of Revision 3's programs. We basically have the whole Revision 3 lineup: Dig Dial-Up, Dig Real, Dig Nation, Film Riot, which rocks, Hack 5, which rocks, HD Nation with rocks, iFanboy with rocks, and pretty much everything else rocks. But we want to get to, of course, Tekzilla. So it's checking the RSS feed, it's got the latest episode, we hit play, and we should see some spots right here if we have the big fat network connection. 4 dots, 4 dots, high quality. So we're going to get 720p, 30 frames per second video, and it should be streaming right about now. And of course, you can fast forward and rewind, you can pause, and $100, and we're going to be alongside some other fabulous networks right on the Roku digital video box. That is right around the corner, people, so keep an eye out for it.
Speaking of new things, so I just got one of those coveted Google Wave invites thanks to my friend Dana. No, I don't have any to pass around, unfortunately. Everyone in the office has been asking me, and so far I'm whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not underwhelmed.
So it's a real-time collaboration tool built around it. What's it doing?
It's basically, right now, it's a glorified chat room. Pretty much people have been joining these public Google Waves and talking about all sorts of different stuff. We started one for Tekzilla. I've got one with Serafina here, where we were trying to figure out some of the plugins. I made a little, or I didn't make it, but my friend Patrick made a little sci-fi wave with Tom and Eileen, where we talk about different sci-fi TV shows that we're looking forward to seeing in the near future. I didn't ask their permission to show this, but I don't think they'll mind.
You don't think
I
they'll
talked
sue?
about how hot Timo Pennicat is in that thread. There's my little picture of him that I added. See?
So you can store files. Can you log? That's a spooky picture of him. Can you basically? I mean, what are the collaborative tools available in Wave?
You can add files. You can share Waves with different people and make them public. They haven't opened up all of the features yet, but people have been building different extensions and bots that you can throw into the threads. For example, in the one that I was doing with Serafina, we added the Amazon bot. And that lets you search for things within the Wave, so we can say, like, what's something you want to search for? Let's see if they have a Roku. I don't know if they do.
They should. We
See if
hope.
it comes up on our thread.
We wait with bated breath.
It doesn't show up on this on this right here, but you can see all the things that are maybe, oh, there's that one. They have a Roku sound bridge.
All right.
So they've got some stuff. The sorting isn't very good. I think if we put it through electronics, we would see things a little bit better. That's a little bit closer to what we're looking for. But you can see everything in real time. So like if I were to type something in here, I could say like reply. You can do, there's keyboard shortcuts like Shift Enter will make you do a reply in a thread.
So you mentioned whelmed, and I'm sitting here going, it really does sound like a chat room now, because I'm waiting for somebody to type in, "K, thanks, bye, hey, who's here, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So you're not seeing a lot of like massive like project tracking tools and
No,
documents.
I mean, it could definitely get to that point. I see that it would be something good for developers to keep track of changes that they're making to applications they're working on, or talking with other developers in different locations. I don't know if it would replace something like a Basecamp that we looked at a couple weeks ago, but it's definitely a good start. I think the more people work on it and build different apps for it, it's going to really grow. And I mean, it's got the power of Google behind it, so it's kind of limitless in what it can eventually do.
Will eventually take over the universe.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great way to just have discussions with people. I don't know if it's a replacement for email for me yet. Definitely not, because not everyone has access to it, so it would be difficult to use it as your main email kind of client. But it is very nice for chatting back and forth with groups of people and sharing files and sharing ideas. And what I really love about it too is that you can go back and, like with Serafina and I, you can play out the wave. So you can hit playback and then watch all the different changes as they've happened. Ooh. So I can see she typed hello. Then I made a bunch of, I went too fast. But you can see them start and stop, and all the changes that were made and typos that people put in.
So I'm thinking this is a tentative thumbs up. Wait and see. Do not, we repeat, do not spend $100 or $1,000 on eBay buying a Wave invite.
Oh, that would be so weird. No, don't do that. But if you want to learn more, Gina over at Lifehacker has the ultimate Google Wave 101 article up. So if you need a primer before you start waving away, you should definitely check that one out.
We got links to that sitting in the show notes.
Windows 7 is coming next week. Hooray! We'll be getting hands-on helping everybody with the installation next week, but Patrick couldn't resist this question from Jason. He writes, with people getting ready to migrate to Windows 7 now, is a good time to make sure all the drivers on your system are up to date. I was wondering if Patrick or Veronica had any favorite picks for automated driver updaters. Remember, free is always better.
Oh my
Jason.
goodness. I've never found like a paid automatic driver update tool that I liked.
I just like it, your favorite driver updater.
Yeah, because you know.
It's really something to get passionate about.
Well, I gotta say, I am gonna get passionate about this. Squee. Look, most paid driver update tools, as far as I'm concerned, pretty much outright suck. If you found one you love, feel free to email us, tekzilla@revision3.com. But look, Windows Update been doing really fine by me on XP, Vista, and Windows 7, especially Windows 7. Now, we should probably also talk about the, you probably are thinking it's more like collecting all of your drivers before you go to Windows 7, and you're going to want to download fresh Windows 7 drivers, But the truth is, Windows 7 does a really good job finding drivers for most of your hardware, unless you have some really old, really obscure hardware. Have you
And then
found,
you can usually go to the support page and download the drivers that you need.
Yeah, I mean, go to the, if you have like some, like fourth-party printer that nobody's ever heard of, see if there's a Vista driver for it, right? Go straight to the source, Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, whoever makes your, your camera, whatever it is. And if your vendor doesn't have Windows 7 drivers, try selling the Vista drivers. And I know you want a tool that's going to collect everything together and, burn it to a CD for you so you have it ready as soon as, or actually probably just dump it on a thumb drive as soon as you're installing. But the truth is, Windows 7 is probably going to find all of the drivers on your system. If it doesn't, you really need to go to the vendor's website and download the latest drivers. Hey, still to come, Will Smith from Maximum PC is here to talk about Windows Home Server and how not to get bit when you're installing it. But while we got your attention, let's thank one of our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, the best way to provide technical support is to do it online with GoToAssist Express. You can help friends learn how to use new software and fix family computer problems without being there in the flesh. GoToAssist Express lets you easily view and control any other computer online so you can quickly resolve technical issues. Whether you're in customer support, technical consulting, or management, or just a computer guru, GoToAssist Express will help you increase revenue, reduce travel and support time, and you know what? Service more clients. Try GoToAssist Express free for 30 days. For this special offer, visit gotoassist.com/Tekzilla. That's gotoassist.com/Tekzilla for a free 30-day trial. Plus, if you sign up for the free trial, you'll be entered for a chance to have Veronica and I help you with your computer computer live on the show. Just go to gotoassist.com/Tekzilla, sign up for your free 30-day trial, and forward us a confirmation email. Send it to Tekzilla@revision3.com with your computer question and write Go to Assist Help in the subject line to enter. Please support us by supporting our sponsors like Go to Assist Express. Andrew's got a question about building a backup server. He writes in, I recently upgraded my PC and now I've got a PC sitting idle. I want to add this PC back to my small home network and make it a backup server. Do you know of any software that would let me do full backups to this machine and possibly even incremental backups? I want to splurge on 3 1TB drives so I can make full backups of both systems and hopefully have an archive that's a month or so old. Oh, Andrew, we've talked about FreeNAS and Unraid, but they're not going to help you out with the backups. So today we've got another DIY server that you are going to love, Windows Home Server. And we've got a serious Windows Home Server user in-house to help you get it up and running. Maximum PC's editor-in-chief, Mr. Will Smith. Will, welcome to the show, man.
Oh, thanks, Patrick.
How long have you been working at Maximum PC at this point?
9 years.
You guys have way too much information in every episode of this.
Thanks. Well, we call them issues. But,
okay, issues.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work in print.
I heard, yeah.
And apparently I've forgotten the basic terms.
Well, we're still around.
Do they still call it writing for the magazine?
We type now, but it's still called writing. I don't know why they do that.
Now that I've managed to bury myself under a pile of fail, you are a big Windows Home Server fan.
I use Windows Home Server at home. I mean, it's one of the products that we cover, but I actually take it home. I use the machines at home, primarily for backup, but also for stuff like media streaming and normal file storage, the kind of stuff you'd use a NAS box for.
So, but it kind of goes beyond a NAS box because it makes everything easier to back up.
It makes the backup easy enough that my mom, could use it, and she's not a technically savvy mom. I don't know where everybody else.
And we're not trying to insult any moms.
No knocks on the moms. So yeah, basically you install it. It does block level backup, which means that it looks at the file system level, looks at individual files, and says, oh hey, this is a file that's actually on 5 different machines. I only need to back up 1 copy of it, no matter how many machines it's actually on.
So if you have like the same picture of your kid on 12 machines,
exactly.
It backs up one copy
one time.
That's pretty slick, actually.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, why do you need to back up? I mean, it's an important picture of your kid, I'm sure.
Right.
But do you need 12 copies of it? Probably not.
Probably not. So it's a free demo. It's like a $95 license.
Yeah, it's not a retail box. It's not something you go to Best Buy and buy. But if you go to like Newegg or Amazon or something like that, I think it's like $99.
That's not a bad deal. And
no.
We'll talk a little bit more about the plugins in a second. But in terms of hardware requirement, how much CPU do you need? How much memory?
So it really depends on what you want to do with the machine, right? If you want to just back up your laptops and desktops in your house, really low-end machine will do it. Like a 5-6-year-old computer is no problem.
Then Pentium 4.
Pentium 4. Pentium 4 you might not want to do because it's hot though. I mean, it uses a lot of power. You want to kind of watch power consumption, which
because you're leaving this box on 24/7.
Yeah, it's a 24/7 box more or less. So you don't want to have something that's pulling 400 watts at idle, or you're going to have an extra $40 on your power bill every month, which is nobody wants.
That would be bad. So let's say you've got your video collection on here, and you want to transcode it to any box at any end of your house. How much processor?
So if your video collection is all Blu-ray rips, then you're looking at like a big quad core, something that's going to draw 400 watts at idle. If you have a bunch of DVD rips, standard def TV resolution content, dual core will probably do it. We actually built an Athlon X2 works great for transcoding video. It's only like a 45 watt CPU.
And we should point out, we're talking about transcoding video, not feeding the video.
Right, feeding video, anything can do.
If your set-top box will play whatever your MPEG-4 video is, you don't need to transcode it, and you can do it with that low-end processor. Well, what about in terms of, there's probably not really any point in like walking you step by step through, click here, wait for Windows to install, but there are a couple spots where you can get in trouble with the installation. Yeah,
the big thing to do is make sure you put install Windows Home Server on the largest hard drive that you have.
Why?
Because the way the network file system works is anything that comes into that machine starts on that C drive and then kind of migrates off onto the other drives in the system, no matter how many drives you put in. So if you put a little tiny 160 gig old Raptor drive in there, you're going to run out of space on that pretty quickly, and that's going to have a pretty significant impact on your network performance.
So it basically migrates the files onto the main hard drive with the operating system and then moves them to one of the other drives.
Right. It says, oh, okay, we'll send part of you to here and part of you to here and part of you to there.
So it's definitely not a traditional RAID, or it's certainly not a RAID 5.
No, it doesn't work at all like a RAID 5 or a RAID 1. There's file redundancy, but again, like the backups, it happens at the block level of the file system rather than on the volume level, which is the way RAID works. So the beautiful thing is, since it's based on net shares, I can do, say I want my photos to be redundant, I can flip on redundancy there. If I don't want my music to be redundant, I don't have to. And it's important because most of the stuff you actually keep on this thing, you probably don't need redundancy for. You need backups of, which
Right.
the server also does.
And you probably want your backup to be off-site in case your house burns down in the next.
I mean, I like to do
we
both.
say that a lot.
Yeah, I like to do both. I mean, I dump small files to the Mosey or something like that, and I have a server, a hard drive that actually plugs into the server, and I can pull out and take my safe deposit box every few months, or
like that.
more likely every 3 years.
So you're saying you're behind on your safety deposit
I don't go to the
box
safety
backup?
deposit box as often as I should.
So do you leave it in the trunk of the car, or is it just sitting in your house?
Usually I just put it up on the dash so that everybody knows it's there. You know, it's not encrypted or anything. People can just grab it and run.
I know which parking lot to go to get a new hard drive. So plugins are a really cool feature in Windows Home Server. What kind of plugins do you run? You mentioned Twonky before.
Well, Twonky's not a plugin. The neat thing about Home Server is it's an actual Windows machine, so you can run Windows software on it. It's a little harder to install. There's two types of other software you can run on these things. One is the add-in, which is really easy to install and maintain and all that built into the...
Lights Out would be one of those?
Lights Out is one of those. Auto Exit, Photo Sync, all of these are great plugins, or add-ins I think is what they call them. But you can also remote desktop into a home server machine and add things like, you know, Twonky or Tversity or whatever media streaming server you want to run. I run the stats script for my TF2 server on it, so
nice.
you know, all of that kind of stuff. You can run anything that runs on Windows on this machine.
And if you can finally back up like all the log files from your router onto it, or pretty much anything.
Those just go in the trash. But yeah, you could.
Do you recommend setting it up with a static IP address, or how are you handling
Static
that?
IP is really great. If your router will assign an IP automatically based on, you know, the MAC address of the device, that's what I do at home. But I mean, static IP works as well.
Dude, thank you so much. We should probably mention the exciting November issue of Maximum PC. What's in there?
So tech preview, we talk about all the hardware that's coming next year. SATA 6 GBS. DisplayPort, you know, all the
USB
CPUs,
3.0.
USB 3.0, new video card stuff from ATI, ton of other great. I mean, it's new CPUs. Well, we talked a ton about Core i5, you know, Intel's new kind of mid-range, low-end quad core.
So much performance for so little money.
Yeah, I mean, what you can get for $200 these days, right?
Dude, thank you so much for coming by.
always a pleasure.
You're gonna be back next week, talk about some Windows 7
Windows
stuff?
7, yes, sir.
I'm so excited. Windows 7 is next week. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Will. MaximumPC.com has lots of great stuff, and you should check it up. Or check it out, as many people would say if they used English as their first language. Hey, coming up next, your questions powered by DimDim. DimDim is an easy free web conferencing tool, and it is super easy to use, built on open source and 100% browser based. It's so easy, just send a meeting and an IM or email your DimDim URL. Your friends and clients click that link, and in seconds, they're in the same web conference room with you, sharing your computer screen, documents, whiteboards, and they can even see and hear you via webcam. You can host, attend, even record your events with no download required, just a browser. Best of all, DimDim is free, people. That's right, free. Why pay for a web conferencing tool when DimDim is free? And you getting that? It's free. So get over to dimdim.com/Tekzilla to sign up for DimDim for free to support our show and to join more than 3 million people who love and use DimDim every day. It takes less than 15 seconds to sign up for free. And in an upcoming episode, we're going to be using DimDim again to take some of your questions on the show. Sign up at dimdim.com/Tekzilla and you'll get an automatic invite to our next DimDim meeting.
Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, Symptom Checker. Feeling a little under the weather, but aren't sure if you should be feeding a cold or starving a flu? Oh wait, is it the other way around? Anyhow, one quick way to self-diagnose is to use Symptom Checker, located on the WebMD site. Here's how it works. First, enter in some basic information, like your sex and age. Then tell the computer doctor what part of you is causing the trouble. Tummy ache? Select the abdomen, for example. From there, you can select the symptoms that you have, like bloating, increased passing gas, pain or discomfort, etc. Oh, well, looks like these could be some of your problems. Well, either you have gas or appendicitis, but we ruled a lot out. Obviously, this is not a replacement for a visit to the doctor, but you can start getting an idea of what's going on in your body and what the different possible results could mean. But don't use it to freak yourself out too much. You probably aren't going into early labor, it's just the bean burritos you had for lunch. As part of the DimDim sponsorship, we decided to host a live DimDim meetup during the taping of this episode. And we figured since we got y'all in one virtual room, why not ask you directly for the questions for the show? Now, since we don't have time to cover everyone's questions, we limited ourselves to 2. The first one comes from Psychosis, who writes, I have a couple of cameras, a Pentax Optio E60, a Kodak EasyShare Z1012, 1012, whatever, IS, and a Nokia camera phone. And I've noticed that sometimes the shots are clear and sharp, and sometimes they're grainy. I've narrowed it down to the lighting. Outdoors when it's sunny, the shots are nice and clear, and indoors with a flash, the shots are also nice and clear. When it isn't lit well, the shots come out grainy. Why?
because you're capturing light on the CCD or whatever gadget behind the lens of the camera actually. Basically, grainy usually means there's not enough light, or you're shooting a particularly fast film, or you're shooting, or or the equivalent on a digital camera. More light makes it easier to capture bright, crisp, clear pictures because there's lots of light hitting the sensor in the back behind the lens.
Yeah, bad cameras, kind of like camera phone style
Right.
cameras, don't typically have a very good low light sensor, so they don't pick up as much light as another camera would, like something better, probably like your
Right.
Optio. Another thing that you should look for if you have one of the better cameras is the ability to change the ISO settings. The higher the ISO, the more light that the camera's going to pick up, and the shot's still going to look a little bit on the kind of crappy side, maybe a little bit on the grainy side,
Right.
But at least it'll show up better than a totally dark kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, if you were a professional photographer who had a big kit of lenses, you'd probably have this big fat lens that was like, f1.8, like a really fast lens. And the whole point of that lens is to gather as much light as possible in a dark room. And with a digital camera with a small lens, especially like you mentioned, the worst are cell phone cameras with that little tiny, 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch size lens to gather light. They just don't have the ability to capture enough light to not be grainy. It's just,
Yeah, camera phones are typically not the best. I mean, even those little Blackberries that have the flash on them are just not really that great for like taking pictures at a concert or a party. It's just, you're probably better off with getting a little pocket camera that has some indoor and outdoor settings that you can flip easily.
or carry one of those big giant million candle power lamps that they sell at car
Oh yeah,
stores.
or just get like a big camera,
Click.
with a big like thing. Never mind.
Yeah.
Let's pull another question out of the old dim meetup. Brian asks, is defragmenting a hard drive or portable media player absolutely necessary? I've done it a few times on various PCs running various versions of Windows, and it doesn't seem to do very much. Also, is it true that defragmenting OS X isn't necessary? Thanks.
Are we going to get into another knockdown, drag down fight over this?
We had a fight about it?
Did we? I thought we did.
That was probably another host.
Might have been Roger, actually. Yeah, I am a huge believer in defragmenting Windows boxes.
I agree with you, so it definitely wasn't me.
Okay.
I always defragment when
Yeah.
I have a Windows box.
A lot of people maintain that OS X's HFS Plus file system is so perfect and so brilliant and so magnificently organized. Defragmenting will not only not help performance, but could possibly kill you and everyone in your family.
And all your loved ones. I don't think that's true exactly.
Right, the killing part.
Yeah,
but-
they don't even have a real defragmenter built into OS X. I mean, you can repair permissions and
Right.
clean up your disks a little bit, but it's not really exactly the same.
Yeah, there are third-party tools out there that will perform file defrags, but basically the general consensus by a lot of people, and I can smell the email burning
know,
into Tekzilla
I
at
know.
revision3.com right now. But the general consensus is that no, you don't really need to bother with OS X, and if you want to experiment with it, you can go buy a tool to do that.
I like Cocktail. I think, is it called Cocktail? I haven't used it in a few years, but it used to be one of my favorite like disk management cleanup tools for OS X.
Yeah.
So I think I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. We'll put it in the show notes and you can take a look. I don't believe it was free. I think it was free to a point, and then afterwards you had to pay a little bit.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of good tools out there,
For Windows, though, definitely disk defragmenter is probably still my favorite. There's a couple open source tools. We'll link those if they're still available in the show notes. But definitely, I have noticed serious performance improvements on Windows boxes, especially if anything more than 10 or 12% fragmentation. Defragging can do wonders for how it feels, boot up time, file opening time, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And it
Portable
can't
players-
hurt, really.
I've heard some people say they have created problems with
Really?
portable media players, like
Oh, okay.
defragmenting the hard drive, like in an iPod or
I've
something.
never tried to do that before, so I can't
Yeah.
speak to using it on portable media devices. But for your typical Windows box, it should be fine.
So yeah, so Windows, defrag, OS X, if you really
If you
are
feel
into
like
that. Portable drives, probably avoid it.
Okay.
All right.
Now, if you missed out on this episode's taping Dim meetup, don't worry. We're going to have one in a few more weeks, so stay tuned and pay attention. Details will follow shortly. And if you enjoyed being part of the Tekzilla experience, let us know. Just shoot an email to tekzilla@revision3.com. But first, it's time to thank one of our sponsors, Brutal Legend. Brutal Legend is the new epic action video game from EA and legendary game designer Tim Schafer's Double Fine Productions. Travel back in time to battle through a world of heavy metal. Jack Black is the voice and spirit behind the main character, rock and roll roadie Eddie Riggs. As Eddie, you can crush skulls, ravage the road in the deuce, and unleash the power of heavy metal to rain down fire from the sky, all to save humanity and become a brutal legend. Filled with humor, great music, awesome characters, and melted faces, Brutal Legend will rock your world. It's available now. Go to brutallegend.com for more details, and be sure to check out revision3.com/brutallegend for exclusive Brutal Legend footage from Revision 3 shows. Please support us by supporting our sponsors, like Brutal Legend. So a couple of weeks ago, Ryan Block showed off the new HTC Hero right here, but there have been a few big announcements from the handheld company since then. We got a few of our new favorites to take a look at today, including Roger's new Dream phone.
I almost feel like the subtitle for this segment should be, "It's not just iPhone."
Yes.
We're not just iPhone people.
No, we have lust over all sorts of different kinds of gadgets. So here's the Hero, of course. This is the one that's on Sprint. I think he had the other one. But this super nice phone. They have the new HTC Tattoo, which is basically just a baby Hero. The main difference is that it has a 3-megapixel camera instead of the 5-megapixel on the Hero.
And that's running Android.
This is running Android.
How do you like Android so far?
You know, this is really nice. I played with the G1 a little bit, but this is my favorite package so far in terms of, you know, the OS with the actual phone. I like this a lot better than the G1.
I don't want to say it too loud because Seraphina's behind the camera and she's a big
close.
G1 fan, but the G1 is kind of clunky for a lot of people.
It's a little bit clunky, a little bit chintzy. But anyway.
I don't think it was chintzy. It was just like that big like.
No, it was kind of chintzy. It was kind of like the squeaky. Anyway, this also doesn't have pinch to zoom, which is what HTC calls multi-touch.
But basically, it's got a touch screen, but you can't size things with your.
Precisely, and it has a resistive screen, not capacitive. So there are a few differences. This is a really nice device. It's supposed to be like the mass-marketed device that anyone could use. It's got a really comfortable feel to it when you hold it in your hand.
And that unbelievably fabulous pseudo 1970s alarm clock feel. And actually, it's you know, it's a pretty clean interface, and it's a nice piece of hardware. If you weren't into like the idea of a big smartphone, this is an Android phone that actually is super pocket friendly.
Yeah.
Pocket. If you have pockets, you'll
And
like
another
this
thing
phone.
is, I'm not going to do it now because it takes a little bit long to put back together again, but you can take off the entire shell of the phone. And HTC is coming out with a new website this week that'll let you totally customize the look and feel. Well, just the look, not really the feel. It'll feel the same still. But it's cool. It's a good way to personalize it without having to get like gel skins or the typical color wear style stuff that we do to our other devices.
I'd still recommend, like any cell phone though, you know, get its cover over the screen and get some kind of case cover on that one.
So this one is going to be available in Europe for now. It's not available yet in the States, unfortunately. Hopefully they'll change that at some point. But it's so you know, mass marketed friendly that they're thinking it's probably going to be free with a contract.
So you want it?
I want it.
You're going to
I want
replace
it
your
now.
iPhone with that?
I want it now. No, there's other devices we have to get to first. We're not talking about replacing iPhones yet.
Yet. You want it, but you're not replacing your iPhone
Yes,
yet.
it's in this beauty with the perforated screen. Here's the Imaggio.
What's perforated thing around the screen?
Yeah, not perforated screen, the shell. I meant to say the shell. This is fantastic looking. Isn't it beautiful?
Actually, it is beautiful, but what amazes me is it's actually a Windows mobile device.
Yes.
And as someone who carried a Windows mobile phone quite happily, also from HTC for a number of years, it's kind of funny to see such a usable touchscreen on a Windows mobile device.
I really like the interface of Windows Mobile 6.5. I think it's really nice. I've heard that there have been some stability issues, but you know, this one hasn't even really come out yet, so it's yet to be seen what's going to happen with that. But it's been running smoothly all day when I've been playing with it. So I think it looks really good. It's going to come out looking just that way. They aren't going to make any other changes to the operating system.
Okay, so I hit the sort of music and movie button, and I seem to have pulled up television.
Yeah, there's TV on this. They've got mobile TV. It's Flow TV from Qualcomm. It's going to be available in 20 cities so far. But it's not going over the regular data streaming. It's a totally separate thing.
Over
so
the
you don't
air?
have to. It's over the air. So you don't have to worry about hogging up all your 3G stuff or not being able to get a signal if there's no phone service. So it's a really nice addition. I think it's one of the only phones that has that right now. It's got a 3-point-inch screen too, so the screen is really nice. I mean, it looks super good.
Is this one going to be available in the US?
This one is going to be available in the US. It's going to be about $200, $199 on Verizon.
So I'm going to watch Dollhouse. What else is coming up?
Actually, that's the super phone.
This is the super
I'm gonna
phone
pay
right
attention to
here.
this one.
This is Roger's favorite. It's the HD2, and I was really excited about this. When I first saw this device, I was like, we have to have this on the show because it's just unbelievable to look at. So as you can see, the screen is absolutely giant.
It is awesome.
It is super, super awesome.
It also has a windshield wiper running on it right now.
Yeah, it's raining. Well, that's the thing. Because it's raining right now in San Francisco, it actually uses triangulation points points between the 3G networks and Wi-Fi networks and figures out exactly where you are and what the weather is going on in your city right at that moment. So you can go to the weather stuff, and then you can actually flip through to other cities. In Taipei right now, it's cloudy. And in Barcelona, it's clear. And it's just a really, really awesome use of Windows Mobile technology.
The screen is gorgeous. It's huge.
Yeah, it's unbelievably clear. I mean, it's, you know, beautiful HD screen. You can scroll through down here on the menu and go to all your contacts, your calendar, stocks, videos, photos, Twitter, for example. HTC has built a whole new Twitter client system for their Android and Windows Mobile phones.
So
that's really nicely integrated. This is Windows Mobile 6.5
Okay.
also. It's got this other cool thing called Footprints, where you can take a picture of a place that you've been and it'll store all the information about that city, like its longitude and latitude, and information about the city. You can pull up different stuff about it, like phone numbers of contacts that you have there. It's kind of like a little snapshot of a memory of a place that you've been and visited.
Or at least so you know that when you took that picture of that used car, it was actually in like Burbank and not, you know.
Right. And they also have these little shortcuts here on the front page that you can either start with the 3 here. We've got revision 3. You can put web bookmarks, you can put contact bookmarks, you can put shortcuts to applications that are running on the device, whatever you feel like putting here. We can flip it up and get to more shortcut screens as well, such as, you know, there's a contact page right there.
Cool.
It's a super, super hot phone. Like, it's just really, really beautiful. It's got a 4.3-inch screen, 800 by 480 right there. So it's great for watching videos and stuff on the go.
I want that size screen on my iPhone in the worst way now.
Yeah, it's got live preview too. So if you pick a website as a shortcut, you can see exactly what's on the website there at that time. It's not like a static image.
They mentioned it had a capacitive screen, so it's got the touch to zoom action going on.
It does have
Pinch to zoom?
the pinch to zoom action going on.
Don't call it multi-touch.
Don't call it multi-touch. Let's see if we can bring up some photos here. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's me. We can click on my image, and then we can pinch to zoom. There we go.
Ooh, I like it.
Unfortunately, it's not available in the U.S.
Tease.
It's not available in the U.S.
Phone tease.
And pricing is not yet available. But we do have a lot of European viewers, so I figured we'd give them some love for once, because we always talk about stuff that they can't get over there.
I think that phone would do really well in the United.
Do you think so?
You know what? I want the screen. Actually,
That's the one that iPhone users get all hot over.
Yeah.
Is the phone right here, the HD2.
Yeah.
You want it. You want to take it home with you.
Yeah.
You can't. It's mine. Give it back. Our final question comes from Jeff. He writes, can you compare the ODROID to the Zune HD? It seems to have most of the features of the Zune HD, plus a lot more applications and games because it runs the Android OS. Also, like the Zune HD, you can watch 720p videos on your HD TV, but its HDMI port is built in, so no extra money needs to be spent for an HDMI dock. Please review it and tell us what you think.
Well, we'd love to review the ODROID, except it's not actually for sale anywhere except to developers in Korea for $320. So we can't really do a review yet because nobody we know can get a hold of one. But you know what? Once the developer version starts shipping sometime in early November, it'll be interesting. Look, there's always open source competitors out there for stuff like the Zune and the iPhone, or at least there are occasionally. They pop up. Do we like the idea of it? Absolutely. It's going to be bigger than a Zune by a pretty large chunk. This thing's like 6 inches by 3 inches by 3/4 of an inch, so it's not the svelte pocket-friendly package. And the big plastic case is not going to feel as good in your hands because, well, it was used for another open source gaming platform, and it wasn't. You know, it's fairly solid, but it's not going to give you that sort of, ooh, that's just really well made kind of feel to it. Could it be a lot of fun as a Zune Touch alternative? Yeah, actually, Android's pretty cool, and they're promising hardware support, so it'll actually be able to play 720p 30 frames per second video, which would make it an awesome portable video playback tool for the plane, for the kids, for the car while you're traveling, if the battery life is there. So we're really kind of curious to see how well it performs. We'll keep trying to get one in for eval, but I got to be honest with you, if you're thinking about buying a handheld media device, you're going to be saving your pennies and waiting because the ODROID does not exist. You can't buy one yet, dude.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of battery life, all these will last you all day.
All day.
Yeah, under pretty heavy use, according to
when
their
you're
rep.
firing the Wi-Fi.
I forgot to mention that part. Yeah.
But we want to know about like 476 hours of standby time if you keep your left foot up.
That's true.
Sorry, there's the whole standby time on phones always makes me laugh. If you never use your phone, it'll run for weeks. What? Oh my goodness. Hey, have you checked out Revision 3's new show, Bytejacker, yet? Hosted by Anthony Carboni, Bytejacker covers the best in the world of independent and downloadable video games. With in-depth reviews and analysis every week, Bytejacker tells you what you should get from the Xbox Live Marketplace, WiiWare, iPhone, and tons more. You can find it every Thursday at revision3.com/Bytejacker. Hey, and for everybody watching, we live on your questions, so email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos, and you ask us, we'll give the answers to you. We'll read those emails, so don't be shy. Send them into Tekzilla@revision3.com.
Or even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Share your thoughts, ideas, or comments with other fans of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We'll see you next week on Tekzilla.
Bye. This week's pick, Symptom Checker. Symptom Checker. This week's pick, Symptom Checker. Feeling a little under the weather, but aren't sure if you should be The shots come out grainy. Why? Why, Patrick, why? Well, it has to do with the light sensor, the low light sensor in your camera, I would imagine. Camera phones typically do not have a good... You're like, are you even noticing that I'm shooting a show right now?
I was on Dim Dim. I was part of an enthusiastic...
He's in a chat.
Oh, my host ended it.
He's cut off.